What's up, guys? You know, pretty much every morning for the last year, I've woken up, and by the time I've left for work, I've thought, we have got to do something to stop these bastards. Not only are they trying to impose their medical tyranny with COVID, but that is just to keep everyone busy and jumping through hoops while they do the true dismantling of this country, which is to destroy our energy production and to weaken our country in every way possible while they literally invade us with as many people as they can. There's Chinese nationals and everybody coming across our southern border unchecked. While everybody's worried about how many masks we're supposed to wear and, just keeping their jobs, we have been invaded by 2 million illegal immigrants in the last year alone. That is more than the least populated 10 states in America. I mean, seriously, 2 million people. Just look at that in perspective of how many people live in all of these states. That's how many illegals they have smuggled in and infiltrated us with. Now, do you think that they aren't going to specific places on purpose? You think that they aren't bringing these people in, registering them to vote, and then sending them to the battleground states? Not like we had fair elections recently anyway, but now they're just going to import new people to any of the red states that they had to cheat to win last time. And while they're telling US citizens that we need a COVID tracker and a COVID pass to do anything, get on a plane, eventually it'll be to go to a grocery store, these guys are allowed to use their arrest warrants as identification that will get them on a plane and then picked up from the airport by Ubers and taxis. That's all being funded by somebody, and those Ubers and taxis are taking them somewhere. So I'm assuming that they do have housing lined up for these people. And while we are literally being invaded, now they're starting up all this rhetoric and bringing the spooks that they always bring out when they want to start a war. I mean, I've seen this with Desert Storm 1, Invasion of Iraq 2. Hey, while we're already over there, let's just go ahead and invade Afghanistan and take over all the poppy fields. And coincidentally enough, after that happened, then we had a heroin pandemic in the country. And while we're being invaded and told that diversity and inclusiveness is the key to all things holy, now they want to start a war in Ukraine because borders aren't being respected. What's going on in this country is treason, sedition at the highest order. They're undermining the U.S. in every possible way that they can. And I don't know what I can do. It makes me sick. All I can do is just make a video for now. Obviously, we can't talk about anything too much on here, but something has to be done. And just to clarify for the NSA, I'm talking about holding, peaceful protests and holding hands and, singing Kumbaya. That's going to be the solution to this.
Why should Americans care about what's happening in Ukraine?
Because it goes to a very fundamental principle of all nations, which is that our borders should be inviolate, that our sovereignty should be respected.
Our borders should be inviolate. Our sovereignty should be respected, meaning Ukraine's. Wait, we're only sending 8,500 American troops to protect the Ukrainian border? Asked the teleprompter reader. Well, says John Kirby, actually, we could send a lot more. They're all poised to secure the sacred Ukrainian border. So you may be wondering, how does that commitment compare to what the Pentagon is willing to deploy to our southern border? Well, let's see a little back of the envelope math here. It's exactly 8,500 more, because there are no troops, no American troops heading to our southern border. That may seem distressing to you, but in a way it makes sense. Ukraine needs the troops. Ukraine hasn't been invaded yet. We have been invaded, and we lost. We've been defeated. And like all vanquished nations, we're being treated with humiliating contempt by world leaders, in this case, by our own leaders. Customs and Border Protection just released the latest statistics on the invasion ongoing into this country. In the month of December, last month, the feds encountered close to 180,000 illegal immigrants, foreign nationals, whose identities we can't know, on the southwest border. Here, all living here now. How many people is that? Well, for perspective, that's more than the 3 previous Decembers combined. In the last calendar year, more than 2 million foreign nationals swept across the Mexican border unimpeded into this country and now live here. That's a lot of people, many times the population of Boston, Atlanta, Denver, pick a city in 1 year. But you know what's more than? It's a lot more than the Russian army has massed on the Ukrainian border, something we're all hysterical about.
Video from a law enforcement source shows a single massive group of about 400 migrants who crossed illegally into Eagle Pass, Texas on Wednesday night. Border Patrol photos show the size of that group, with the sector chief himself saying this was no coincidence. It was orchestrated by criminal elements for money. The night before, the exact same thing happened. Photos from Border Patrol show another group of 400 after they crossed illegally into Eagle Pass Tuesday night. Here in the Rio Grande Valley, we embedded with Texas DPS as they track down runners in the brush looking to evade near La Joya, Texas. 2 men in this group were from China.
Facebook helps its users share information on how to cross the border illegally, on how to break our laws. Do they encourage users to cook meth? Here's how you make fentanyl. Here's how child trafficking can make you millions. Those are crimes too. We can't say that they're doing that. They're encouraging the breaking of federal immigration law. We're not guessing about this. Facebook admitted it recently to the Attorney General of the state of Arizona. And we're quoting, "We do allow people to share information about how to enter a country illegally or request information about how to be smuggled." About how to be smuggled? Facebook is helping people who, quote, want to be smuggled? In addition to being totally evil, these people have no self-awareness. Imagine saying something like that. Uber does it too. Uber drivers are picking up illegal migrants from the border. We know because Fox News spoke to one driver in Arizona who said, quote, "I just will get a notification of a pickup, head down to the location, and there will be a group of 20 plus immigrants standing on the corner waiting for Ubers." So again, if Facebook and Uber were abetting child trafficking, which on some level they are, because child trafficking is an integral part of illegal immigration, so is drug trafficking, maybe someone would wake up and do something about it. You're seeing people rotting in solitary because they trespassed in the Capitol, but Uber and Facebook are helping people violate federal law and we don't care? No one in Congress is investigating any of this. Sounds like sedition to us. But they're busy. They're sending hundreds of millions of dollars of lethal weapons to Ukraine to help with their border. Pentagon's not sending troops to our border, they're sending them to Ukraine's border. Free health care and a flight? Sure you can. You're from another country. Americans don't get that. Here's another report from Bill Melugin.
TSA confirms to Fox News that the agency is allowing illegal immigrants to use arrest warrants as ID at security checkpoints in airports, telling us in part, quote, "For non-citizens and non-U.S. nationals who do not otherwise have acceptable forms of ID for presentation at security checkpoints, TSA may also accept certain DHS-issued forms, including ICE Form I-200, warrant for arrest of an alien."
Just to restate, we're allowing foreigners who came here illegally in violation of our laws, which are unenforced by our current government, which is undermining democracy by its refusal to enforce those laws. Those people get to use their arrest warrants to get on airplanes. Well, you have to show ID. Meanwhile, again, you can't say this enough, we'll stop after this. Congress is doing everything it can, pulling out all the stops to send more money to Eastern Europe to protect the borders of Ukraine. That may seem distressing to you, but in a way it makes sense. Ukraine needs the troops. Ukraine hasn't been invaded yet. We have been invaded, and we lost. We've been defeated. And like all vanquished nations, we're being treated with humiliating contempt by world leaders, in this case by our own leaders.